Hi, I'm Merkaba Molly. I felt like I would do a reading today. I wasn't feeling great yesterday, so I'm going to do it today. So I'm going to do this with my sacred geometry. So this is a reading for the collective, just for this week or so. Unless you're catching this replay much later, you're led to it. Because my guides always guide me to videos, and it's always good. Wow, two cards have just come flying out. The first is Emergence, and the second is Consciousness. So a lot of people are, I felt this, it was actually last week when I was doing a little reading I posted on Instagram. A lot of people responded to that a lot of people are going through a spiritual transition where they're shedding skin and they're having massive personal growth at the moment, and it feels like this has been happening since the Pisces new moon, which was a week or more ago. And with this consciousness card, it's definitely a rising of consciousness for each person. It comes in waves, how people in the world are getting this upgrade in consciousness, and it really depends on your soul and whether you're ready and your vibration and what situations you're in, which allow for that. Some people are more rapidly advancing with consciousness. Others are staying back down for other reasons that their soul has chosen. So it's not always, it's nothing to judge, and it's nothing like no one's better than the other. It's just everyone goes through a stage in their own personal evolution. So I think that's important. But definitely with the Emergence card, it says, it invites us to approach our reality with a childlike attitude of innocence and wonderment, to watch and celebrate the beauty that unfolds from that place. I really feel like that is a call for all of us at the moment in terms of life in general, because we need to have more play, more fun, and more liveliness that we can create from within rather than relying on the outside world. Okay, so really, if you are going through something like this at the moment and it feels a bit harsh, because sometimes it does bring up a lot of stuff to be purged so that then you can release and then rise in consciousness through your own learning as well. It's not always fun, and it's often not pleasant. So if you are going through it and finding it is a difficult time, to focus on this as a new experience, just be curious about it. Don't judge it. Don't judge yourself. Just move through it and know there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and everything is going to be better afterwards. It's just part of spiritual growth. If we all talked about this more, then we wouldn't be so scared about it when it happened and we didn't know what was happening. This card is the Miracle card, number 33. If you see 33 a lot, I've been seeing it heaps at the moment. Take that as a message for yourself. The frequency of miracle supports our belief in ourselves as part of Source, and therefore our belief that anything is possible. Very much, if you're connected to the divine and you want to call on miracles into your life, you have a trust and faith that it will happen because you are connected and you trust. Often you get little miracles that give you faith, and you can have more and more and more, and then you just trust completely. And that really helps you to let go of control and surrender to life unfolding. Of course, you can work on your manifestation techniques as part of that, but definitely know that some people are receiving miracles at the moment. And if you are starting to worry that it's not happening for you, then turn that around to a different way of thinking about it, that really focusing on instead your trust and belief in the divine, rather than manifesting what you don't want to come true, or what you want not coming true, if you get what I'm saying. So focusing on something that's not happening, i.e. a miracle that you want so much is not happening, is going to just perpetuate that. Instead, just check your faith and belief in the system, okay? Wow, and here's the passion card. So some of us are being called to work on our creativity and our passion, whatever is firing you up at the moment and is driving force for you, taking you in a new direction. That is really something to applaud, that you're listening to your intuition and you're going forward with that. If you're not listening to your intuition, but you are getting these messages to do something along those lines, then this is the call to do it. This card says, the frequency of passion reminds us that beneath every intense emotion lies the hidden gem of insight, balance, and calm. It assists us in finding the balance within this intensity, moving us from chaos to calm, where we can let its long-lasting wisdom fill us up. Some of us who do creative pursuits actually find that calm through the practice. So if you think of something that you do that really gets your mind focused on it and is a creative process, and then you feel really light and happy afterwards, that is something that you can do now to help you move forward. It may not be the end goal, but it may be something to get you into the right place of being so that you can bring in and attract what you truly want and desire. I was just feeling the pull to get a different deck out now. Angel Therapy. This is in relation to what I was just talking about. When we are in our creative flow, our mind is less busy and less negative because we are so focused on what we're doing and we're enjoying it. And this is to combat the part of the mind that creates negative thoughts and worries. It's called the God box. So it's a suggestion that you create a box, like an old tissue box or something, and you put your worries on a piece of paper into the box. And with this, it's like a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. So it's like a physical way of doing it. Part of the frequency that really brings us more of what we want is faith. And that is creating and listening to the directives that you get from your intuition to move forward, okay? So writing in a journal is really helpful for this. First of all, you can write in a journal to get rid of all the thoughts that are busy in your mind that are probably not being productive. And then you can go deeper and write about what guidance you're getting that keeps on coming through. And it might be a leaning towards learning something or like a passion project. A lot of people get ideas when they are sleeping and then they wake up in the morning and write it down and turn that into something. Okay. This card just came out, the Power Animal. Your animal spirit guide is a guardian to you and is helping you with this situation. So each of us can call on spirit animals, or as they say, power animals. You may already have a feeling of one that would be with you. They come through at different times in your life where you want to, where they have a special ability to help you through a situation. So maybe courage or strength or wisdom. confidence, stuff like that. So one thing you can do is just have a meditation where you call on a spirit animal, get into a very calm state, and then see what comes to you, like whether you see something in your mind or you hear or you feel, and just check in with yourself on what kind of animal that is. Some of the people, as I was saying at the beginning of this reading, some of the people who are starting to wake up will have animal guides with them, and will possibly, some of them will be waking up through that process of being aware of the animal guide. It's like a way into the spirituality. So just be aware of that. It could be happening to you. This card is about indigo children. So there's been lots of classes of different people in different books back in the day, New Age books. This one is quite an old deck. It says, the person you're inquiring about is an indigo, meaning highly sensitive, natural-born leader. Basically, I feel like what they're saying is that the people who are waking up, they were already of a high consciousness, but were asleep, and now the gates are just opened, or the veil has been lifted, and it's quite immediate, the transformation that happens. But it took a long time in terms of human years to happen. But the right set of circumstances have come about to allow this now. All right, I'm feeling like I need to go back to this sacred geometry deck now. I'm being told about chakras. Okay, so some of the people watching, if you're guided to watch this, try to do a chakra balancing meditation. You'll be able to find one online. It's going to help you come back into balance, because sometimes when you go through a spiritual growth period, you can feel rattled by it. A lot of energy can be moving around, and it's really helpful when you get a good meditation about chakra alignment that it brings you back into balance, and you just start to feel much better. Like you feel more grounded and more centered, less all over the place, and it's less confusing. So I would recommend that for you if this transformation is happening. It's also easy. Sorry, it's also not easy going through this if you have no one to talk to about it. So I would recommend finding a book that, just thinking which book. Probably one of Doreen Virtue's older books, if you can get your hands on it, like The Lightworker's Way, if you feel like you're a light worker. Actually, I'm going to put a book in the comments after this, because I just can't remember the title. So I'll recommend that for you. So where I was going with that is that sometimes you feel alone in this process because your friends are not going through it. So if that's the case, read a book, find a community online. You're welcome to contact me for a session, because I can help you understand what is happening for you. The card that came out is called Allowance. The frequency of allowance invites us to be open to whatever comes our way without judgment, without opinion, without fear, without resistance. So that's essentially what I was saying before, was that don't judge what you're going through. Just allow it to happen. It is from a higher directive, and your higher self is part of it, okay? So you've chosen it at a higher level. Just allow it to happen and just go with the flow. But at the same time, look after yourself. So if you are feeling ungrounded, ground yourself, go into nature, do some walking in nature, sit on the beach, do things like that. If you are not sleeping well, use meditations, use relaxations. So there are ways to care for yourself. I would suggest actually go to my blog and read the posts about Ascension, and then I've got some tips there that will help you. So I was getting this message yesterday about divine feminine and divine masculine. There's some huge growth happening right now on both sides in terms of awakenings, spiritual consciousness, vibrational shifts, more of a balance between the divine masculine, divine feminine. Within each person, there's the divine masculine, divine feminine. That would be leveling up as well, but also in people. So whoever's predominantly divine masculine and predominantly divine feminine, everyone's kind of like shuffling up. I've felt a lot of shifts in myself in the past week, and I mean that by Ascension symptoms that were like I had like a fluttering in the heart. Yesterday I had some just really odd feeling that I was going to do this stream last night, but I decided to hold off and just meditate and let that energy settle. So yeah, there are things happening, and there are different waves of people going through this at different times. And it's been happening to me for quite a few years now. But some people are just starting to have it, or they're just starting to wake up to the fact that it is an ascension symptom and not just some weird feeling that they're having. All right. So yeah, divine, that's where I was going. Divine feminine, divine masculine. I kept getting that message yesterday that big shifts are happening. Alchemy. The frequency of alchemy activates our magical ability and remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. Each one of us has the potential to access the ancient knowledge that allowed the true alchemist to perform the miracles of transmutation. So the words that stuck out to me from that, just as I read it, was the remembrance of the magic that we all hold inside. We always had this within us, and we forgot it. When you come into the world as a baby, you just immediately your memory's wiped. But through, I can just say from my own example is that through my life, I've remembered different bits of it along the way in terms of my gifts. Different things have come to me at different times. Abilities are awakened, but they were things that I always had through lifetimes before. Hi to everyone who's joining now. Sorry, I've been on channeling. I've just been talking very fast. Thank you for joining me. I want to say that if you feel you don't have this gift or you don't have that and other people have that and you're like worried, why don't I have that? Everyone has their own gift. Everyone has multiple gifts. Everyone has gifts that come at different times in their life. So don't worry about what you have and what other people have and you're not growing fast enough. It doesn't matter. Everyone has their own way of shining, and that is the most important thing, that you actually allowing that to happen for yourself. Okay, this deck is the Archangel Oracle cards. Another old deck I've got. My guides love the Doreen Virtue cards, so I still use them. So I'm asking for the people who watch this video, the people who watch the live stream, for the collective who watches this, what are the messages that they need to hear for this week ahead? This one is called Leadership. It is time for you to assume your leadership power, position, and lovingly guide others. So some of us are being asked to guide the people who are waking up now. If you feel like that's you and you've been getting the message to do that, then the question is, how are you going to do that? You've probably been getting guidance about that as well. Everyone has a different way of doing it, and you don't have to do it as a profession. You might just be doing it as someone who can listen to others when they're having a chat out on the street, or talking to your workmates about things, and then they explain this and you can give them some information that would help them. But we're all being asked to help the people who are awakening now so that they don't feel so out in the woods, if that's the right phrase. Yeah, don't feel so confused. All right, I'll get one more card and then I'll wrap this up. Oh, there it is. Angel therapy. Give your cares and worries to us, angels, and allow us to take your burdens. That's a beautiful way to end this reading. So please do give your burdens and worries to the angels. Ask them for help. Call on them when you go to sleep. You can use prayer if you want, or you can use the God box, as I said earlier, to release your concerns and worries, and then ask the angels to take care of them as well. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back for spiritual chat on Wednesday, and I'll do another Angels Messages show on Friday. So I hope you can join me then. Until then, namaste. Thank you very much. Bye.